What's going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about The Boys. The finale is dropping soon. I actually have no idea if it drops at midnight or what time it drops at, but the final episode of The Boys is going to be coming out soon, and I wanted to come on before this happens and kind of make some of my last final predictions for the show. I haven't been doing a great job of keeping up with the show. I've been having a lot of car issues, work issues, everything in between, and I'm finally getting to a point where I got to sit down, rewatch the last couple of episodes, think things through, and I have a list of things that I think might happen, but I am going to apologize before I get too far into this video. I might contradict myself a couple of times because The Boys universe is so damn good at being unpredictable. I absolutely love everything that they've done with this universe over the last couple of seasons, over what they've did with Gen V, and it's such an interesting feel for a show, and they did such a good job of making characters like Homelander so unpredictable, and I really enjoy a lot of the stuff that they've been doing, a lot of the stuff that they've been setting up, but it's also like, if a character like Homelander could at any given point just randomly decide to like massacre a bunch of people or randomly decide to, you know, just go on like a little vacation for a little bit, so go torture a bunch of people who traumatized him as a kid, it's almost impossible to know what they're going to do with this last episode. So that being said, I have a list of predictions here. Like I said, they might contradict themselves because I'm leaning heavily towards one way or the other, which is they know season 5 is going to be their last season. There are certain characters here who might be on the chopping block, but also, would they kill them off now, or would it be better to just wait until the next season? Let's dive into this, shall we? Okay, so starting off with characters who I don't think are going to die, and before somebody's like, hey, why are you even bothering going through this list and kind of talking about the characters who you think are not going to die, because I only think that there's one character who I am 100% like, if I had to bet a character's going to die, I have my one choice for that, but there's a lot of characters who people think are going to die, and I don't think are going to die. And there's a lot of weird things I think are going to happen with it. So for one, I want to talk about A-Train. Really like the character. I think that everything that they've done with his redemption arc is fantastic. And I don't think that they're going to kill him off. I think that a lot of people are like, okay, A-Train is definitely going to die in this next episode. I low-key am thinking that at this point in the show, what would make the most sense, because similarly to, you know, like stuff with Butcher and stuff, where it's like, we're this close to the last season. He's one of the last members of the Seven from the original OG Seven that's still around. Why would they kill him off right now? Obviously, it could be like a really big shock factor, and there's definitely a lot of people who would be very emotionally attached to this character. But I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, since everybody thinks A-Train is going to die, I'm hoping he doesn't. And in fact, I almost am willing to bet on this. I'm not going to because I'm not a gambler. I want to assume he's not going to show up in this next episode. And before somebody's like, oh my god, why would they do that? That's crazy. I think that it would be so interesting if they had him just off the grid, right? And maybe if he does show up in this episode, it's just so that we know he's still alive and he's well at the end of the episode or something. But I think it'd be so interesting. He just took his family to somewhere where they can be safe. He's on the run. He's hiding from Homelander or whatever. And Homelander's busy with everything that he has going on in DC and everything that they're trying to do with assassinating the president and everything. So, like, does he have time to go track down A-Train? Like, obviously, would he want to? Have I been saying the wrong character's name? Have I been saying the Deep instead of the A-Train? Hold up. If I have, whoopsie daisy, future editing Blake, please fix that. Thank you. I love and appreciate you. Anyways, but to continue on with what I'm talking about, A-Train is just like such a fun character. He's had such development, and he's really been growing on this arc of like, he hated himself, he hated himself, he hated himself. He's finally actually a hero and saving people, and he really likes the way that it feels. And I feel like that arc is so similar to like the characters in Gen V and everything that they've been trying to do with certain characters in this show. And I think that it would be really wrong to kill him off now, when they could potentially give him like a big moment now and then potentially kill him off next season, or have him disappear and kind of go off the grid for a little while, and then him be the person who kind of like brings together a super team for whenever it's time for them to face off with Homelander in the final season. Because I think it'd be really cool if they kind of like make a parody of like the Avengers Endgame moment, and they're like, okay, it's Butcher and he's facing down the entire Seven all by himself. Whatever the new Seven lineup is for next season, whoever the rest of them are, he's staring them down. He's ready to fight them all by himself. And then, you know, A-Train comes up and he says, like, on your left. And he zooms in. Okay, there's this character who's going to come help him out. Zooms in. Okay, there's this other character that's going to come help him out. And then they just, like, do, like, an Avengers Endgame. And it'd be really interesting. They could bring back a bunch of random characters who honestly don't even make sense to show up, but it would just be hilarious because The Boys is incredibly meta. And I just think that it would be a really interesting way to end the show. And I think that it'd be a great way to kind of remind people, like, this this show, on top of it just being a good show that has to do with superheroes, it's always been a parody of the superhero genre. It's always been kind of like playing with what people expect from superhero things and kind of twisting it on its head. And I think it'd be really funny to do something similar to that. Especially because like when they did their like Girls Get It Done moment, and I think that was season 3 or season 2, it just felt so natural and it felt great and it felt very earned, and it kind of felt like a giant fuck you to Marvel because they did what Marvel was trying to do but better. And I honestly think that they could pull an Endgame and do it better and make it really cool and have like a really, really cool epic showdown. And having the deep, oh my god, I keep doing it, having A-Train around for that would be great, and I would love that. The next character, I've seen a lot of people online talking about how they think this person's gonna die. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I don't think the president, like I don't think Singer or Neuman is gonna die. I feel like they're going to attempt to assassinate Neuman, not Neuman. They're going to attempt to assassinate Bob Singer or Brian Singer. Is it? Either way, they're going to try to assassinate the presidential candidate, and then it's not going to work. It's going to end up backfiring. And then I think the boys are going to be trying to kill Neuman, but I don't think it's going to end up working. And I think that overall, what's it called? The political figures are going to be fine. And I think, if anything, Newman's going to get outed as a soup. And that's going to be a big thing. And that's going to be something she's going to have to deal with going into the next season. But that being said, I do think that they are going to kill off Newman's daughter. I think that that's going to be a really big moment. I think that whichever side it is that does it, if it's the boys that does it, they're going to be gaining an enemy. If it's the 7 that does it, for whatever reason, Homelander's like, screw you, you were supposed to do something, I'm taking away something you love. You know, it totally could happen. And I just think that that's a character that in the show is still very likely to die. And it's 100% something that the boys universe would do. So I don't doubt that that would happen. Now, to kind of talk about the political figures for a little bit more, one little thing that I wanted to touch on. A lot of people think that the shapeshifter is going to try to assassinate the president as Starlight, and I feel like that is going to happen. And I feel like there's going to be a good opportunity that that's going to happen. And I think one of two things is going to happen. Either she's going to attempt to assassinate the president, and it's not going to work because Homelander fans are going to be like, oh my god, Starlight's here, and they're going to all start jumping the shapeshifter, or the actual Starlight will show up, and there will be a Starlight versus Starlight fight, because I really think that having a Starlight versus Starlight fight would be a really symbolic way to end Starlight's journey for this season, because her entire story has been like, she doesn't want to be Starlight, she wants to be Annie January, but at the time, right now, people really need a Starlight. They need somebody to actually be a hero and somebody to look up to, and I think that her coming in as Annie January and beating the shit out of Starlight would be super satisfying. It'd be cool. We've got to watch her beat down on Firecracker, and it'd be really cool to watch her just kick ass again. It'd be fun. And overall, I think that would be the best way for them to end Starlight's character for this season. My next one, I was told by my producer that I'm not allowed to make this joke, but I have a feeling that Homelander is going to get shot in the ear.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Anyways, the next thing that I want to talk about is Firecracker. I think Firecracker is going to die in this episode. I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. They need more members of the 7. She's doing everything she can to kind of support Homelander. And I think that Homelander is going to realize that she's kind of a weakness, and that he's starting to rely on her the same way that he relied on Stillwell in the first season, and he killed Stillwell in the finale of the first season. So I think it would end up being a really interesting thing if, like, either he kills her intentionally, or like he just gets really frustrated and she happens to be the closest person in the area and she does something to kind of like step on his toes, and he's like, god, I'm surrounded by imbeciles, and he just like kills her, because that'd be interesting. Something I personally would love, and I know it's not going to happen. I think it would be so funny. I don't know if funny is the right word. I think it'd be so interesting if Homelander just killed all of the members of the 7, because he's just so tired of them all being dumbasses. Like, they let Butcher get away. A-Train was the mole, and none of them were able to figure it out. And it just seems like something that Homelander would do, is just going around and killing all of the 7. And I feel like that'd be interesting. That being said, I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, I'm going to stick to my guns. I think Firecracker is the only main character of the 7 or the boys that is going to die. I think that there's a slight chance that Frenchie dies, but I feel like at this point in the show, there's no reason to kill any of the members of the boys. I feel like all of the boys should continue to be alive, and everything should kind of work out for them. But that's some of my main predictions when it comes to like deaths, lives, and stuff like that. Yeah, we're gonna pretend like that made sense. That made sense, didn't it? It did, didn't it? It did. I don't. Okay, sorry. Anyways, but yeah, so on to the next thing I want to talk about. I don't see a way that this show ends without bringing back Soldier Boy. I don't think he's going to come back in a big way, but I think that there's going to be some kind of reference or some kind of like moment towards the end of the show, because they know that the next season's the last season. They could really end on a gigantic cliffhanger and have like the boys kind of in like the worst position that they've ever been in. And, you know, desperate times calls for desperate measures. And Soldier Boy is out there somewhere. They know where he is. He's currently in a cryostasis. It's definitely a very risky thing to try to take him out and, you know, be like, hey, we need your help again. Please help us kill Homelander. But Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy was such a hit. They keep bringing back the fact that the character exists in universe. Like, he showed up in Gen V. He showed up in like magazine covers and stuff like that with Kimiko. So it's like, he's a character in universe who potentially could really help out the boys. I don't think he would want to, but hypothetically, it could happen. Overall, I think that any way to get Jensen Ackles back on the show would be great. And I feel like the end of this episode, depending on how big of a cliffhanger it is or how bigly they just like abruptly end it, we might get some reveal that he's, you know, alive or he broke out or something, you know? Okay, and then my last prediction, I'm going to keep this one incredibly vague because I don't know honestly how I feel about this, but it's something that I could see happening and I think would be really interesting. By the end of this episode, I want Ryan to have a definitive, is he good? Is he bad? Does he prefer Billy or does he prefer Homelander? Because for this entire season, they've kind of had him like very on the fence about like, does he really trust Homelander? He doesn't really like Homelander as his father. He literally referred to Billy as his dad, well, essentially as his dad during the Christmas episode. And like, there's been a lot of moments where he's like really back and forth and back and forth. So I think at some point in this episode, we're going to have like a big confrontation moment between not Soldier Boy. Oh my God, I can't speak. We're going to have a really big confrontational moment between Ryan and Homelander, and they're kind of going to have like a heart-to-heart, and I'm expecting it to either be a really bad argument or a moment where Homelander fully wins Ryan over and is, you know, able to convince him that, you know, Billy doesn't need him and that Homelander needs him and that they can be, you know, a great father and son duo or whatever. Either way, I think that this episode should end with Ryan either being fully evil or fully good, because so far he's been like kind of teeter-tottering the line, and I want him to have a really good story arc next season, and as of right now we have like nothing with him. That being said, I also could see Homelander killing him. I don't think it's gonna happen because I think that they've set up Ryan as being like such a huge part of this story, and I think that the actor who plays him is, you know, going to be a young adult whenever they start recording the next season or whatever. So like, there's a chance that they're going to try to age him up, make him more powerful, and actually have him be a part of a final fight with Homelander. But that being said, they got to do something with his character, because I really want this to end with him either definitively being a member of the Seven or definitively being a member of the Boys, and not on the fence, because it's driving me insane. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for coming by and checking it out. I love and appreciate you guys. I am so sorry if I messed up so many words and I've been stuttering all over this video. It's really late. I'm really tired. But I love and appreciate you guys so much for watching. And if you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe. And come back tomorrow where I'm going to be seeing how incorrect I was. Anyways, peace out. Bow. Bow. Bow.